all of you. I am Shabbir from Edukemy. Your mains examinations are over and I'm discussing the geography optional paper of this year, that is 2022. My overall analysis is कि यार ये paper बहुत अच्छा था. I think last कुछ सालों में the type of questions geography was having, all of us had our fears. हालांकि marks अच्छे आते थे. Last year's the people who have qualified from geography optional, they have scored around 280, 290, and one of the students optional geography has scored more than 300 also. So compared to some of those papers, I think this is a very nice paper, and almost all questions there is some element of familiarity. And what I'm happy about is कि इस साल बहुत सारे questions, okay, as much as almost 90% of questions Edukemy में मैंने कहीं ना कहीं पढ़ाया है as a part of enrichment program, as a part of MSP program. तो surprise element बहुत कम था. In fact, question number 1A, spliothems जो था, many people were surprised. But this was a question that we have asked in our test papers. We have specifically stressed on preparing for trade, transport, globalization, importance of roads, very good, nice technical discussions with geographical perspective also. So I'm happy with the paper, paper 1 khaskar. I think the marks should be nice, but yes, the challenge will be if you have not properly practiced answer writing, if you have not properly practiced how to structure answers, you might be challenged to write in the exam conditions. होता क्या है, हमें आंसर पता होता है, but जब लिखने बैठते हैं 15 मार्क में या 10 मार्क में या 20 मार्क में, it becomes a problem how to organize the ideas, what to write first, what to write next, what type of diagrams to draw. So that could be a challenge. Otherwise, I think the paper was overall fairly good, nice. And the paper has touched almost all units. Some of the questions definitely were repeats. Questions on pollution dome, questions on von Thunen, questions related to ocean currents and winds. We had a question on slope, how that impacts landscape, how does the relief altitude impact. ये कहीं ना कहीं पहले भी पूछे हुए questions हैं. So I think good number of questions were also repeated. So that makes the work a bit more easy. So the essence that you will take back from this paper is कि आप कोई भी unit छोड़ के नहीं जा सकते. Even if in some units the questions are not as many, you can't leave the questions, you can't leave the units in your preparation. So that is my understanding of paper 1. और मुझे लगता है paper 1 का section B was a very nice, rich, diverse set of questions on languages, on cultures, on regional development, questions on modes and theories, questions on migration, about trade, transport, technology का क्या role है, okay, and one question from geographical thought, a very straight question, the impact and consequences of QR. Okay, so paper 1 section B was also very nice, diverse, and very, very writable questions. So I'm sure you all will do well in that. So my wishes to those who appeared. Coming to the paper 2. Paper 2 ka map was, I think, a very nice, good, doable list of entries. If you have done some bit of practice along with some previous year's practice, आपके आराम से 7 से 8 entries हो सकते थे. 7 to 8 entries. Because Tarangambadi was asked already. Mahe you can't miss. Bomdila, the pass that we have in Arunachal Pradesh, all of us should know that. Dhola Sadia Bridge, more or less where Brahmaputra enters the plains from Sadia, okay, वो भी पता होना चाहिए. तल्ला कावेरी, कावेरी पे आप 2-3 बार पूछ चुका है. तल्ला कावेरी, Krishna, Tirath, these are the source streams of Kaveri. So this should have been doable. Satkosia or Satkosi is one of the Ramsar sites added in last year. ये भी पता होना चाहिए था. तिकड़पाड़ा फॉरेस्ट अंगुल ओडिशा में. धोलावीरा लास्ट 2-3 बार में एक आध एंट्रीज हरप्पा से पूछ ही रहा है. Okay, they are asking for Harappan locations. Dholavira, part of Kutch, Khadir Bet, ये भी पता होना चाहिए. सोनमर्ग, I found many students confusing Sonmarg and Sonamarg. So yes, that was a trick there, but Sonmarg, Amarnath, ये भी पता होना चाहिए था. Ganga Sagar, I can accept it was a bit confusing. हालांकि उस Sagar Island ही पूछ रहा था. The largest riverine island on the mouth of river Ganga, okay, which has problems of erosion, impact because of Ayla cyclone, and Maliku Atoll. I'm sure none of you have heard about Maliku Atoll, but because atoll mentioned here, at least you could have guessed that it should have been Lakshadweep. Okay, and in the scale that you are given, आप कहीं भी mark कर दे Lakshadweep में, you would have got some marks there. So I think except for 9 and 10, most of the other entries you should have known if you had practiced previous year's questions and if you had done some basic. So I think map was also very, very doable this year. If I talk about the other questions of paper 2, this is a common observation of students. The paper is very general, GS type ka paper hai. I do not know how many more times students will say this. I mean, if you look at the question paper right from 2013-14, the paper has always been of this nature. Paper 2 is Indian geography, applied dimensions hai. Agriculture, industry, trade, transport, population problems, hunger issues, floods and droughts. So it's impossible. The questions, okay, will not have the general feel to them. And my argument always is, it does not matter if the questions are general. What you should be doing is treating the topic in geographical perspective. What do I mean by that? Floods. Floods can be a general question. But when you're writing about floods in geography, you must know land zonation. You must talk about disruptions of hydrological cycle. You must know upstream and downstream relationships. Floods in relation to channel morphology. Floods in relationship to the floodplains, type of deposits, siltation. Floods in relationship to land use changes and the patterns in the urban areas. Floods in relationship to the type of sedimentology of the Himalayas. So आपको geographical terms use करना पड़ेगा. Floods and braiding of rivers, floods and anastomosing rivers, floods and river shifting. ये geographical concepts हैं. Relating floods to physiography. So the question might be general, but your treatment has to be geographical perspective. And if you have not learned that by now, okay, I think that's such a big waste. So every year, and you can record this for yourself, every year, geography ke questions paper 2 mein or paper 1 mein bhi, they can start asking lot of general type of questions. Because geography hai kya? It's about the climate, it's about the environmental aspects, about people, agriculture, economy, trade, transport. How can the questions not be general in paper 2? पेपर 1 में थ्योरीज हैं, पेपर 1 में प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, पर पेपर 2 के तो जनरल रहेंगे. इसमें आप सरप्राइज क्यों हो जाते हैं? Okay, so please, questions will be general. It is the treatment that matters. It is how you approach the question that matters. Can you write regional perspective or not? Can you relate it to some concepts of paper 1 or not? Can you write a case study based example or not? वो important है. Okay. So I think for me, the paper was not a surprise. I was expecting water issues, floods issues, migration issues. I was expecting food problems, hunger issues. I was expecting problems related to agriculture reforms, agriculture issues, and the policies there. So I don't think the paper was an unusual paper. Okay, fairly well on the lines, TFR and population control, talking about disputes because of kala pani. ये तो हमने पढ़ाया है आपके MSP में. How the river-based boundaries are always tricky issues. Okay, talking about ports of Western Ghats, ये भी पढ़ाया है हम लोगों ने. So I think the paper was very much on a very predictable lines, if you ask me, which should have helped those who have studied on those lines. So again, my wishes, I think paper 1, paper 2, both were doable, very nice, और अच्छे marks आने चाहिए. My wishes to all of you. My analysis of geography optional paper of 2022.